So good day everyone, I'm Aliyah Trixie Hermione R. Suleiman from BSBA HRM 14N, and for today I'll be discussing the lesson 11 of the course Human Resource Management, which is employee benefits. These are any perks offered to employees in addition to salary. And at the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify the mandatory benefits and contributions in the Philippines. And secondly, explain the importance of effectively communicating the nature and value of benefits to employee. And for our first topic, we will talk about the mandatory employee benefits and contributions in the Philippines. Subtopic of it is the employee benefits, coverage, and contributions. The Philippine Social Security System, with the provisions of the Republic Act number 8282 or the Social Security Law, is the country's social insurance program. And under this are the Social Security System, Home Development Mutual Fund, and the Philippines Health Insurance Program. So for our first topic, it is the most popular insurance that most of our family members have. The Social Security System, which is known as the SSS. It is a state-run social insurance program in the Philippines to the workers in private, professional, and informal sectors. In addition, it was established by the virtue of RA number 1161, better known as the Social Security Act of 1954, and was later amended by the Republic Act number 8282 of 1997. While for the government employees, they have separate state pension fund, which is the GSIS short term for Government Service Insurance System. Second is the Home Development Mutual Fund, also known or popularly known as the Pag-ibig Fund. It is a provident saving system supplying housing loans to private and Philippine government employees and to self-employed persons who elect to join the fund. Usually, the contributors of this are the couples who are getting ready to build a family. Next is PhilHealth, Philippine Health Insurance. It is administered by the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation. Moreover, it provides employees with the practical means of paying for adequate medical care in the Philippines. And in my opinion, this is one of the helpful insurances you can join in. It really helps in your hospital billing statement. So next is the coverage in the Philippines. So first is all employed persons under the age of 60 who earn a monthly income of more than 1,000 pesos are required to contribute to the three social insurance funds previously mentioned: the SSS or GSIS, Pag-ibig Fund, and PhilHealth. Second, government employees under the retirement age of 65 and officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine National Police, Bureau of Fire Protection, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and the Philippine Coast Guard, who are under the age of 60 are mandated by law to contribute to the GSIS. Third is both private and government employees must contribute to the Pag-ibig Fund and PhilHealth. Membership is optional, however, for self-employed persons, overseas Filipino workers, and non-working spouses. So now we will be talking about the Philippines government made revisions for contribution in 2019. So first is employees' SSS contributions are deducted from their salaries and withheld by their respective employers on a monthly basis. Employers have a share in the monthly contribution. Second is that the updated SSS monthly contribution for employed members with monthly incomes of 17,500 pesos and over is 1,920 pesos. The employer is required to contribute 8% or 1,400 pesos from this amount, while the remaining 4% or 700 pesos should be withheld from the employee's salary. Shown in this picture is the updated SSS contribution and was effective on April 2019. Third update is foreign nationals working in the Philippines must also make contributions to SSS, HDMF, and PhilHealth. Membership is mandatory unless exempt under some of the Philippines totalization agreements. Next is contributions to Pag-ibig Fund is set at 200 pesos and must be equally shared by both employer and employee. And last is effective January 2018 onwards, monthly premium contributions to PhilHealth will be 2.75% of the employee's basic monthly salary and will be shared equally by both employer and employee. So now we are in our second topic, which is benefit programs. And under it, we have five categories, namely social insurance, private group insurance, retirement, pay for time not worked, and family-friendly policies. And in the picture shown, which is table 13.1, is an overview of the conditions of specific benefit programs based on Bureau of Labor statistics data. While on the 13.3 table shows the percentage of employees covered by these benefit programs increases with establishment size. And on the table 13.4 shows that the benefits and the total compensation costs also affects and increase with establishment size. So our next slide is workers' compensation. These are the laws cover job-related injuries, death, and workers suffering work-related injuries or diseases. But usually these laws were not successful. In contrast, these laws operate under a principle of no fault liability, meaning that an employee does not need to establish gross negligence by the employer. And in return, employers receive immunity from lawsuits. One exception is the employer who intentionally contributes to a dangerous workplace. And another information, employees are not covered when injuries are self-inflicted or stem from intoxication or willful disregard of safety rules. And this workers' compensation benefits fall into four major categories, which are the disability income, medical care, death benefits, and rehabilitative services. For our next slide is private group insurance. As we noted earlier, group insurance rates are typically lower than individual rates because of economies of scale, the ability to pool risks, and the greater bargaining power of a group. This cost advantage, together with tax considerations and a concern for employee security, helps explain the prevalence of employer-sponsored insurance plans. Under this, we have two major types, medical insurance and disability insurance. Remember that these programs are not legally required, but rather, they are provided at the choice of the employer. So the first major type is medical insurance. Based on the public opinion, medical benefits are one of the most important benefits to an average person, and most of full-time employees have medical insurance, especially in larger workplaces. And the three basic types of medical expenses normally covered are hospital expenses, surgical expenses, and physician's visits. Additional benefits that employers may offer include dental care, vision care, birthing centers, and prescription drug programs. But the downside is the challenge from the benefits management on how they will provide quality medical benefits while controlling costs, a subject we return to in a later section. The second type, disability insurance. And there are two basic types of this, the short term and the long term, which are only received by employees from large workplaces. Short-term plans generally provide benefits for 6 months or less, while long-term plans potentially cover the person for life. Moreover, the median and modal salary replacement rate is 60%, although short-term plans are sometimes higher. So next is retirement benefits. Earlier, we discussed the old age insurance part of Social Security, a legally required source of retirement income. This remains the largest single component of the elderly's overall retirement income, 35%. Other sources of income are pensions, 17%, earnings from assets, 11%, earnings, 34%, and other sources, 3%. The 16th slide. Defined benefit. A defined benefit plan guarantees a specified retirement benefit level to employees based typically on a combination of years of service and age, as well as on the employee's earnings level. For example, an organization might guarantee a monthly pension of $1,500 to an employee retiring at the age of 65 years old with 30 years of service and an average salary over the final 5 years of $40,000. Defined benefit plans insulate employees from investment risk, which is borne by the company, and in the event of severe financial difficulties that force the company to terminate or reduce employee pension benefits. Next, defined contribution. Unlike defined benefit plans, defined contribution plans do not guarantee a specific benefit level for employees upon retirement. Rather, an individual account is set up for each employee with a specific size of contribution. The advantage of such plans for employers are that they shift investment risk to employees and present fewer administrative challenges because there is no need to calculate payments based on age and service and no need to make payments to the PBGC. While cash balance plans, it is a retirement plan in which the employee sets up an individual account for each employee and contributes a percentage of the employee's salary, and that account earns interest at a predefined rate. Moving on to next, pay for time not work. These are the paid vacation, holidays, sick leave, maternity leave, and etc. This is the benefit received by the employees for time not spent working, receiving no tangible production value in return. Additionally, if a person or employee is unable to work through no fault of his or her own, and this usually seems to have no economic effect and little direct advantage for the employers. Perhaps for this reason, a minimum number of vacation days, 20, is mandated by law in the European community. Furthermore, for new employees, as many as 30 days is just common for them, while in America, there are no legal minimum days, but having 10 days is normal in large companies. In relation with that, U.S. workers must typically be with an employer for 20 to 25 years before they receive as much paid vacation as their Western European counterparts. Sick leave programs in the United States among employers that provide them often provide full salary replacement for a limited period of time, usually not exceeding 26 weeks. The amount of the sick leave is often based on length of service accumulating with service. Sick leave policies need to be carefully structured to avoid providing employees with the wrong incentives. Family-friendly policies. This is used to ease employees' conflicts between work and non-work. An example of this is family leave policies and child care. Although the programs mentioned were focused on specific groups only, this would still help and console the whole organization and would positively affect the company's performance. And based on evidence, it suggests that firms using family-friendly policies have better quality management practices overall that are positively associated with organization performance. Now, for our third topic, which is managing benefits, employer objectives, and strategies. Although the regulatory environment places some important constraints on benefits decisions, employers retain significant discretion and need to evaluate the payoff of such decisions. As discussed earlier, however, this evaluation needs to recognize that employees have come to expect certain things from employers. Employers who do not meet these expectations run the risk of violating what has been called an implicit contract between the employer and its workers. If employees believe their employers feel little commitment to their welfare, they can hardly be expected to commit themselves to the company's success. Next, cost control. In thinking about cost control strategies, it is useful to consider several factors. First, the larger the cost of a benefit category, the greater the opportunity for savings. Second, the growth trajectory of the benefit category is also important. Even if costs are currently acceptable, the rate of growth may result in serious costs in the future. Third, cost containment efforts can only work to the extent that the employer has significant discretion in choosing how much to spend in the benefit category. Next, HMO, Health Maintenance Organization, a healthcare plan that provides benefits on a prepaid basis for employees who are required to use only HMO medical service providers. Next, Preferred Provider Organization or PPO, a group of healthcare providers who contract with employers, insurance companies, and so forth to provide healthcare at a reduced fee. And lastly, Employee Wellness Programs, or known as EWPs. It focuses on changing behaviors both on and off work time that could eventually lead to future health problems. Primarily, this is a preventive way by helping in health status, and this may help in decreasing employees' needs for services which is more costly. And typically, the programs done here aims to fight specific and usual health risks like high blood pressure, high cholesterol levels, smoking, and obesity. And that's all. Hope you learned a lot from it. And this provided assessment is just a test on what you have learned. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.